The warehouse smelled like rust and forgotten promises. Maren Cross pressed her back against the cold concrete wall, listening to footsteps echo 3 floors below. Her fingers traced the edge of the flash drive in her pocket, the one containing codes that could either save thousands of lives or destroy everything she'd worked for. Before we jump back in, tell us where you're tuning in from, and if this story touches you, make sure you're subscribed, because tomorrow I've saved something extra special for you. 24 hours ago, she was just another cryptographer at Axion Technologies, solving puzzles in a climate-controlled office. Now she was running for her life. It started with a seemingly innocent email. Subject line, "The numbers don't lie. No sender information." Just an attachment containing a sequence that made Maren's blood run cold the moment she decoded it. The message revealed that Axion's new security protocol, the one being deployed to hospitals, power grids, and government systems worldwide in 3 days, had a backdoor built directly into its architecture. Someone had deliberately created a master key, a kill switch, and they planned to use it. Maren had done what any reasonable person would do. She documented everything, compiled the evidence, and scheduled a meeting with her supervisor, Dr. Helena Voss. But when she arrived at Helena's office that morning, she found it empty, cleaned out. Not a single personal item remained. The nameplate was already being unscrewed from the door. Dr. Voss took an immediate leave of absence, her colleague Marcus had said, his expression carefully neutral. Family emergency. Very sudden, but Maren knew Helena. The woman had once worked through her own wedding anniversary because she was close to cracking an encryption pattern. Family emergency didn't fit. Then came the second email. This one had just 3 words. They know, run. Maren's instincts kicked in before her rational mind could catch up. She grabbed her laptop, copied the evidence to a flash drive, and walked out of Axion as casually as possible. By the time she reached the parking garage, 2 men in dark suits were already heading toward the elevator she'd just left. Now, hiding in this abandoned warehouse on the outskirts of the city, Maren tried to think clearly. She couldn't go to the police. If the conspiracy reached as high as she suspected, law enforcement might already be compromised. She couldn't go home. Her apartment was certainly being watched. Her phone was off, battery removed, exactly like the spy thrillers always advised. She needed someone she could trust. Someone outside the system. The footsteps below stopped. Silence stretched like a pulled wire ready to snap. Maren held her breath. Then her old phone, the one she'd kept in her bag for emergencies, the one no one knew about, vibrated. A single text from an unknown number, rooftop. 5 minutes. Come alone or don't come at all. Every thriller movie she'd ever watched screamed trap. But what choice did she have? Maren made her way up the rusted stairwell, each step groaning under her weight. The rooftop door hung crooked on broken hinges. She pushed through into the harsh afternoon light. A woman stood at the far edge, silhouetted against the skyline. As Maren approached, the figure turned, and recognition hit like ice water. "Hello, Maren," Dr. Helena Voss said calmly. "I'm glad you're smart enough to run." Maren's hand instinctively went to the flash drive. "You disappeared. I thought that I was dead." "Compromised?" Helena's smile was sharp. "I disappeared because I discovered the same thing you did. 3 months ago." 3 months. Maren's voice cracked. "You knew about the back door for 3 months and didn't tell anyone?" "I tried." Helena stepped closer, and Maren noticed the exhaustion carved into her features, the grey streaks in her hair that hadn't been there before. "I went to the board. I contacted federal cybersecurity. I even reached out to journalists. Every single avenue was blocked. Either people didn't believe me or they were already part of it." "Part of what, exactly?" Helena pulled out her own flash drive, holding it up like evidence in a trial. "Axion Technologies isn't just a security company, Maren. It's a front. The back door isn't a bug or a rogue employee's sabotage. It's the entire point. Someone has been planning this for years, building the infrastructure, getting governments and hospitals dependent on our systems, creating the perfect digital weapon." Maren's mind raced through the implications. With access to hospital systems, someone could alter patient records, shut down life support, cause chaos. Power grids could be manipulated, causing blackouts or worse. Government communications could be intercepted or fabricated. Who? Marin asked. Who's behind this? That's what I've been trying to figure out. Helena's expression darkened. But everyone I got close to ended up disappearing, or worse. 3 weeks ago, my research partner turned up dead. Suicide, they said. Marcus, the one you spoke to this morning? He was feeding information to someone. I don't know who. The warehouse suddenly felt very exposed. Marin glanced toward the door, half expecting armed men to burst through. Why contact me now? She asked. Because the deployment is in 3 days, and you just became their biggest problem. Helena moved to a duffel bag Marin hadn't noticed before and unzipped it, revealing laptops, documents, and what looked like surveillance equipment. They'll be looking for you everywhere you've ever been. Every person you've ever known will be questioned or monitored. You can't hide, Marin. There's only one option left. What's that? Helena's eyes gleamed with something between determination and desperation. We expose everything. Not through official channels. Those are compromised. We go public. Massive, undeniable, everywhere at once public. We release the evidence to every news outlet, every social media platform, every independent journalist we can find. We make it too big to cover up. They'll come after us even harder. Yes, Helena agreed. But if we do this right, it won't matter. The truth will already be out there. That's why we need to move fast and smart. Marin looked at the flash drive in her hand, then at the equipment Helena had prepared. This wasn't what she'd signed up for when she took a job as a cryptographer. She was supposed to solve puzzles, protect data, live a quiet professional life, but lives were at stake. Thousands, maybe millions of them. Okay, Marin said finally. Tell me the plan. Helena smiled, a real smile this time, not the professional mask Marin had always seen at the office. First, we need to gather everyone I trust who's still alive. There are 5 others scattered across the country, all former Axion employees who discovered pieces of this puzzle. Then we coordinate the release for maximum impact. And we need to do all of this while staying ahead of whoever is hunting us. That's insane, completely. Helena started packing up her equipment. But we have one advantage they don't expect. What's that? Helena tapped her flash drive against Marin's. We have the truth, and we know exactly how their security works because we built it. We can use their own systems against them. As they prepared to leave the rooftop, Marin felt the weight of what they were about to attempt. This wasn't just about exposing corporate corruption or even a criminal conspiracy. This was about preventing a catastrophe that could reshape the world's digital infrastructure and trust in technology forever. The game had begun, and Marin Cross was about to discover just how deep the deception really went. The safe house was a cramped apartment above a Vietnamese restaurant in Chinatown. The smell of pho and lemongrass seeped through the floorboards, masking the scent of stale coffee and nervous sweat. Marin sat cross-legged on the floor, 3 laptops open in front of her, while Helena made encrypted calls from the corner. Dmitri is in, Helena said, ending her 3rd call. He's driving up from Atlanta tonight. Should arrive by morning. Marin barely looked up from her screen. She was deep in the code, tracing the back door's architecture like a surgeon mapping veins before a critical operation. This is sophisticated, she muttered. Whoever designed this spent years perfecting it. The back door doesn't just exist. It's woven into the fundamental structure. Removing it would collapse the entire system, which means hospitals and power grids can't just uninstall the update, Helena said grimly. Once it's deployed, they're locked in. Exactly. Marin highlighted a section of code. But look at this. There's a secondary encryption layer here that doesn't match Axion's standard protocols. It's almost like someone else added it later. Helena moved closer, studying the screen. A signature? More like a fingerprint. Every programmer has habits, variable naming conventions, comment styles, even the way they structure loops. Marin zoomed in on a particularly dense section. This section uses Hungarian notation, which Axion abandoned 5 years ago. And these comments? They're in Romanian. Romanian? Helena's eyes widened. Andrei Lupe, the name hung in the air like smoke. Marin had heard it before, whispered in office hallways, mentioned in hushed tones during security briefings. Andrei Lupe was a legend in cybersecurity circles, a brilliant cryptographer who disappeared 7 years ago after allegedly selling classified algorithms to the highest bidder. Preparing and narrating this story took us a lot of time, so if you're enjoying it, subscribe to our channel. It means a lot to us. Now back to the story. I thought he was dead, Marin said. Everyone does. That's the point. Helena pulled out her phone, scrolling through old files. Lupe worked at Axion for 18 months before he vanished. He was the lead architect on the predecessor to our current security protocol. If anyone knows how to build an undetectable backdoor, it's him. So we find Lupe. We find answers. It's not that simple. Helena showed Marin a photo, a grainy surveillance image of a man with sharp features and cold eyes. People who've tried to find Lupe have a habit of disappearing. He's protected by someone powerful, someone who wants him hidden. A knock at the door made them both freeze. 3 taps, pause, 2 taps. The agreed signal. Helena opened the door to reveal a lanky man in his early 30s, with thick-framed glasses and a messenger bag. "Dmitri," she greeted him warmly. "Dr. Voss." Dmitri stepped inside quickly, locking the door behind him. His eyes found Marin. "You must be the new recruit." Dmitri Volkov, former network security specialist. Currently unemployed and technically dead, according to Axion's internal records. Dead? Marin asked. Long story. Dmitri dropped his bag and pulled out his own laptop. Short version. I found evidence of financial irregularities 6 months ago. Tried to investigate quietly. Next thing I know, there's a gas leak at my apartment, and I'm supposed to be victim number 1. Luckily, I wasn't home. How many others are there? Marin asked Helena, including Dmitri, 5. Jen Lee is flying in from San Francisco. She was our biometrics specialist. Jamal Torres is already in the city, hiding in plain sight as a food delivery driver. And then there's Katerina Wells, our former project manager. She's the one who originally noticed the budget discrepancies that started this whole investigation. And the 5th. Helena exchanged a glance with Dmitri. Isaiah Grant. He was our head of security. The person who should have caught all of this before it started. Should have. Marin caught the past tense. Isaiah disappeared 3 days ago, Dmitri said quietly. His apartment was ransacked. Blood on the carpet. No body found. The room fell silent, except for the hum of laptop fans and distant street traffic. We need to assume he's either captured or dead, Helena said. Which means we're down to 4, and we need to move faster than planned. Marin's phone, the burner she'd picked up that afternoon, buzzed. An email from an address she didn't recognize. No subject line. Just an attachment. Don't open that, Helena warned. But Marin had already clicked. The screen filled with a video. Dark, grainy footage from what looked like a security camera. A man sat bound to a chair in a concrete room. Isaiah Grant, bruised and bloodied but alive. A figure stepped into frame, face obscured by shadows. Dr. Voss, the distorted voice said through the laptop speakers. I know you're watching. I know you've gathered your little resistance. It's admirable, really, but ultimately futile. The shadowed figure circled Isaiah like a shark. You have something that belongs to me. 2 flash drives containing information you shouldn't possess. Return them within 12 hours, and Mr. Grant lives. Your team disbands. You walk away. And if we don't, Helena called out to the screen, as if the person could hear her, as if on cue the figure answered. Then the deployment happens ahead of schedule tonight, and the consequences will be on your hands. 12 hours, Dr. Voss. Choose wisely. The video ended. The screen went black. Dmitri swore in Russian. Helena's face had gone pale. Marin felt her heart hammering against her ribs. It's a trap, Dmitri said. They'll kill Isaiah whether we comply or not. And they'll kill us too. I know, Helena replied. But if they move the deployment up to tonight, we lose our window to expose them. Hospitals and power grids will be compromised before we can warn anyone. Marin stood up, pacing the small space. Her mind raced through scenarios. calculating odds and outcomes like the puzzles she used to solve in her comfortable office. That life felt like a distant dream now. What if we do both? She said suddenly. Helena turned. Both? We give them what they want, or make them think we do. Buy time with a fake exchange, while we simultaneously push forward with the exposure plan. Split their focus. They'll see through a fake, Dmitri argued. Not if we make it convincing enough. Marin's fingers flew across her keyboard. I can create a duplicate flash drive with enough legitimate data to pass a surface-level inspection. Encrypted layers that take time to crack. By the time they realize it's fake, we'll have already released the real information. Helena considered this, her strategic mind weighing variables. It could work, but someone needs to make the exchange. Walk directly into their trap. I'll do it, Marin said before she could second-guess herself. No, Helena shook her head. You're too valuable. You understand the code better than anyone, which is exactly why it has to be me. Marin met Helena's eyes. I can answer their technical questions. Sell the deception. Anyone else? They'll know something's wrong immediately. The room fell into tense silence. Outside, the city continued its evening rhythm, unaware of the digital time bomb ticking down. Dmitri finally spoke. If we're doing this, we need a plan. A real one. Not just walking in and hoping for the best. Agreed? Helena pulled up a map on her laptop. Marin makes the exchange. Dmitri and I coordinate the data release from a secure location. We need Chen and Jamal here as backup and extraction. If things go wrong, when things go wrong, Dmitri corrected, when things go wrong, Helena acknowledged, we need an exit strategy and a way to complete the mission, even if some of us don't make it out. Marin looked at the flash drive on the table, the real one, containing evidence that could prevent catastrophe. Such a small thing to carry so much weight. How long do I need to stall them? She asked. Helena checked her watch. 4 hours minimum. That gives us time to verify our media contacts are ready and coordinate a simultaneous release across multiple platforms. Can you hold out that long? Marin thought about Isaiah, beaten and bound in that dark room. She thought about the millions of people who would be affected if the back door went live. She thought about the life she'd had just yesterday. Safe, predictable, boring. I can hold out, she said. Helena placed a hand on her shoulder. Then let's get to work. We have 12 hours to save Isaiah and stop a digital apocalypse. And we're going to need every single minute. The exchange location arrived via text at 2:47 a.m., Pier 19. Container Yard B, Section 7. Come alone. Marin stood in front of the cracked mirror in the safe house bathroom, adjusting the tiny wireless earpiece Dmitri had given her. It was flesh-colored, nearly invisible, with a microphone so sensitive it could pick up a whisper. Testing, she murmured. Loud and clear, Helena's voice came through. Remember, you just need to keep them talking. 4 hours. We're already reaching out to contacts at The Guardian, Reuters, and The Washington Post. Chen is coordinating with independent journalists and tech bloggers. Marin splashed cold water on her face. In the mirror, she barely recognized herself. Dark circles under her eyes, hair pulled back in a messy ponytail, wearing a borrowed jacket that smelled like someone else's life. 48 hours ago, her biggest concern was whether to grab sushi or pizza for lunch. Marin. Dmitri appeared in the doorway, holding out a small device that looked like a car key fob. Panic button. You press it, we come running. No questions asked. She took it, feeling the weight in her palm. What if they search me? They will. He pressed something on the side, and the device separated into 2 parts. The actual button was smaller than a pill. Swallow this if you have to. It'll transmit for 6 hours in your digestive system. The signal will lead us right to you. You want me to swallow a tracking device? I want you to survive. Dmitri's expression was serious. These people have killed before. They'll kill again. Don't be a hero. If it goes bad, get out. 20 minutes later, Marin was in the back of Jamal's delivery van, heading toward the waterfront. Jamal Torres was exactly what you'd expect from someone hiding in plain sight. Forgettable features. Friendly smile, the kind of person your eyes would slide right past. You've got guts, he said. navigating through empty streets. When Helena told me about you, I figured you'd run. Most people would. Most people are smarter than me, Maren replied. Smart and brave aren't the same thing. Jamal pulled into an alley 3 blocks from the pier. This is as close as I can get without being spotted. You see anything suspicious, you hear anything wrong, you run. Understand? Maren nodded, clutching the fake flash drive in her jacket pocket. The real one was with Helena, already being uploaded to secure servers around the world, ready for simultaneous release. The waterfront was a maze of shipping containers stacked like giant metal blocks. Sodium lights cast orange pools of illumination between long shadows. Maren's footsteps echoed on the concrete as she made her way deeper into the yard. "I'm here," she whispered. "We've got your location," Helena confirmed through the earpiece. "Chen is in position on the east side with a telephoto camera. She'll document everything." Section 7 was at the far end of the yard, where the containers formed narrow corridors. Maren's breath came faster. Every shadow could hide someone. Every sound could be a threat. A figure emerged from between 2 containers. Tall, broad-shouldered, wearing tactical gear and a balaclava. Not alone. 3 more appeared, surrounding her in a loose semicircle. Maren Cross. The voice was electronically distorted, the same one from the video. The figure in front was clearly the leader. "You came. How refreshingly naive. I have what you want." Maren pulled out the flash drive, holding it up. "Now release Isaiah Grant, all in good time." The leader gestured and one of the others moved forward with a handheld scanner. "First, we verify authenticity." The scanner's blue light swept over the drive. Maren's heart hammered. She'd spent 3 hours building the fake, layering it with enough legitimate code to pass initial inspection. But if they dug too deep, if they had someone who could crack her encryption on site, the scanner beeped. "Green light, preliminary check passes," the tech specialist said. "Need lab analysis for full verification." "Good enough for now." The leader extended a gloved hand. "The drive." "Isaiah first," Maren insisted, surprised by how steady her voice sounded. A pause. Then the leader nodded to someone behind Maren. She turned to see 2 more figures, dragging a man between them. Isaiah Grant, barely conscious, his face a mess of bruises. "Isaiah." Maren started forward, but a hand gripped her shoulder, stopping her. "The drive," the leader repeated. Maren handed it over. The leader pocketed it, then gestured. The 2 guards shoved Isaiah forward. He collapsed at Maren's feet. "There, fair exchange." The leader tilted their head. "But I'm curious, Ms. Cross. Did you really think we wouldn't know?" Maren's blood turned to ice. "Know what?" "That you're not alone. That Dr. Voss and her little band of rebels are listening to every word. That you've prepared a counterstrike." The leader's tone was almost amused. "Did you think we were amateurs?" In her ear, Helena's voice, "Maren, get out now." But it was too late. The figures closed in, cutting off escape routes. "You see," the leader continued, "we've been monitoring Dr. Voss since the day she discovered the back door. Every move, every contact, every safe house. Why do you think we let this play out?" "Because you've been gathering all our loose ends in one place." Maren's mind raced. This wasn't just a trap for her, it was a trap for everyone. "The journalists you contacted?" The leader pulled out a phone, showing a screen full of text messages. "Already warned off or paid off. The bloggers? Their accounts are about to be flagged for spreading misinformation. And your precious evidence? We'll have it scrubbed from every server you uploaded it to within the hour." "You can't erase the truth," Maren said, even as desperation clawed at her chest. "No, but we can control the narrative. And by the time your story sees daylight, we'll have already labeled you as disgruntled former employees spreading conspiracy theories. Fake news, deepfakes. Take your pick." Isaiah groaned at her feet, struggling to sit up. "Maren, don't trust." "Quiet." One of the guards kicked him, and Isaiah crumpled. White-hot anger flooded through Maren. She'd come here expecting danger, expecting violence, but the casual cruelty cut deeper than any threat. "Why?" she demanded. "Why go through all this?" "The back door, the conspiracy. What's the end game?" The leader stepped closer, and even through the distortion, Maren heard satisfaction in their voice. Control. Imagine having access to every hospital record, every power grid, every government communication system. Imagine being able to selectively shut down a city's infrastructure, manipulate financial systems, or simply know everyone's deepest secrets. That's not power, Ms. Cross. That's godhood. You're insane. I'm practical. The world is chaos. Someone needs to maintain order. And we will. Starting tonight, when the deployment goes live and the old world's illusions of privacy and security die forever. In her ear, frantic whispers. Helena coordinating, Dmitri analyzing, Chen reporting. They were scrambling, trying to salvage the mission, but Maren could hear the edge of panic in their voices. She needed to buy more time. Keep them talking. Who's we? Maren asked. You can't be running this alone. Someone's funding you. Someone with serious resources. The leader laughed, a hollow electronic sound. Very good. Yes, I have benefactors. People in very high places who understand that democracy is messy and inefficient. Better to guide the sheep than let them wander off cliffs. And André Lupe. He built this for you? A pause. The leader's posture shifted, suddenly more alert. What do you know about Lupe? I know his fingerprints are all over the code. Maren took a gamble. I know he's alive. And I know he's the real architect of this whole system. Clever girl. The leader's voice dropped to something colder. But not clever enough. Lupe is, let's say he's insurance. A genius locked away where only we can access him. Creating beautiful nightmares on demand. So Lupe was a prisoner, not a willing accomplice. That changed things. Time's up, the leader announced suddenly. Secure them both. Take them to the secondary site. And someone contact our people. I want Dr. Voss and the rest of her team located and eliminated within the hour. Hands grabbed Maren roughly. She struggled, reaching for the panic button in her pocket. But someone anticipated the move and seized her wrist. The device clattered to the concrete. No! She shouted. Everything happened fast. The guards moved to restrain her. Isaiah, using what must have been his last reserve of strength, lunged at the nearest guard's legs, tripping him. In the confusion, Maren broke free and ran. Shouts behind her, footsteps, the sound of a weapon being cocked. Helena, they know everything. Maren gasped into the earpiece as she sprinted between containers. The journalists are compromised. The uploads, they'll erase them. It's all falling apart. Helena's response was static, then, backup plan. Get to extraction point Delta, trust me. A gunshot cracked through the night. Metal pinged near Maren's head. They were shooting to wound, not kill. They wanted her alive. She zigzagged through the container maze, adrenaline overriding exhaustion. Another turn, another narrow passage. She could hear them closing in, coordinating through their own comms. Then up ahead, a figure stepped into the light. Maren skidded to a halt, ready to run the other direction. Don't move, a woman's voice commanded. Asian features, tactical gear, weapon raised but not aimed at Maren. Dr. Cross, Chen Li sent me. We're your ride out. Who are you? Someone who actually wants to stop these bastards. The woman lowered her weapon slightly. Name's Reeves. FBI Cybercrimes. We've been investigating Axion for 8 months. Your evidence just gave us everything we needed for warrants. Behind Maren, the pursuers were getting closer. Come on! Reeves grabbed Maren's arm. Move! They ran together, Reeves leading them through a route that seemed impossibly familiar. She knew this place, had planned this extraction. How did you... Later. Right now, we run. They burst out of the container yard into a parking lot where 3 black SUVs waited, engines running. Federal agents and FBI windbreakers poured out, weapons drawn, heading into the yard. Reeves shoved Maren into the back of the middle vehicle. Get her to Safe House Bravo, she ordered the driver. Then to Maren, your friends gave us everything. We're coordinating raids on Axion facilities across 6 states right now. Whatever happens tonight, you've already won. Isaiah Grant, already being extracted. Medical team is standing by. The SUV pulled away as more federal vehicles arrived. Through the back window, Maren watched the container yard light up with tactical flashlights and laser sights. She'd survived. Somehow, impossibly, she'd survived, but the leader's words echoed in her mind. The deployment goes live tonight. The battle wasn't over. It had only just begun. The FBI safe house was nothing like the cramped apartment above the restaurant. This was a fortified compound in suburban Virginia. Reinforced walls, surveillance everywhere, and enough firepower to hold off a small army. Maren sat in a conference room surrounded by screens displaying real-time raid footage from Axion facilities across the country. Seattle office secured, an agent announced. 12 arrests, servers seized. Boston team reports heavy resistance, another called out. Requesting backup, Agent Reeves stood at the head of the table, coordinating operations with military precision. Helena, Dimitri, Chen, and Jamal were there too, exhausted but alive. Isaiah was in the medical wing, stable but sedated. We've hit 17 facilities simultaneously, Reeves explained, pulling up a map with red dots marking each location. But here's the problem. The main server farm, the one controlling the deployment, isn't at any official Axion location. It's completely off the books. Of course it is, Helena muttered. They wouldn't put their doomsday switch somewhere we could find it easily. Maren stared at the code, scrolling across one of the monitors, fragments recovered from seized servers. Something about the architecture nagged at her, a pattern she'd seen before but couldn't quite place. What's the current status of the deployment? She asked. Reeves checked her tablet. According to our intelligence, activation is scheduled for 6 a.m. Eastern. That gives us 4 hours to find and shut down the main server before millions of systems worldwide go live with a built-in backdoor. 4 hours to search the entire country for a hidden facility. Dimitri shook his head. Impossible. Not if we think like them, Maren said suddenly, sitting forward. They need massive bandwidth, redundant power supplies, and physical security. But they also need plausible deniability, somewhere that wouldn't raise suspicions if discovered. Chen pulled up a database. Government facilities? Military installations? Too obvious. Too much oversight. Maren's fingers flew across her keyboard, pulling up the code fragments. Wait, look at this timestamp embedded in the backdoor's activation protocol. It's using Greenwich Mean Time, but with a specific offset. Not standard time zones. Something custom. Helena leaned in. An offset that corresponds to a specific longitude? Exactly, Maren ran the calculations. And when I cross-reference it with facilities that have the infrastructure requirements, she pulled up satellite imagery. There, an old Cold War bunker in West Virginia, officially decommissioned in 1994, sold to private investors in 2003. But look at the power consumption data from the local utility. It's drawing enough electricity to run a small city. Reeves was already on her phone. I need satellite surveillance on these coordinates, and I want tactical teams mobilized immediately. She covered the phone, looking at Maren. If you're wrong, I'm not wrong, Maren insisted. That's where Lupe is. That's where the main servers are. And that's where we need to be. 20 minutes later, they were airborne in a FBI helicopter, racing toward the West Virginia mountains. Below them, forests stretched like a dark ocean under the pre-dawn sky. We're going in with you, Helena said firmly, when Reeves tried to object. This is our fight too. You're civilians. We're the only ones who fully understand the system, Dimitri interrupted. You'll need us to shut it down properly. One wrong move and you could trigger fail-safes we don't even know about. Reeves finally nodded. Fine, but you follow orders and you stay behind the tactical team, clear? They all agreed. The bunker entrance was hidden beneath what looked like an abandoned ranger station. FBI breaching teams descended first, moving with practiced efficiency. Gunfire echoed from below. Resistance was expected, but the defenders seemed almost fanatical in their determination. 3 hostiles down, came the radio chatter. Advancing to sub-level 2. Maren descended the concrete stairs with Helena beside her, both wearing borrowed tactical vests. The bunker was a maze of Cold War-era corridors, retrofitted with modern technology. Fiber optic cables ran along the ceiling like veins. The hum of servers grew louder as they went deeper. Contact, someone shouted ahead. More gunfire, then silence. They reached the main server room, a massive space filled with rows upon rows of black towers, all humming with activity. In the center, surrounded by monitors, stood a man in his 50s with graying hair and intense eyes. Endre Lupe, looking exactly like his photo but older, more weathered. He wasn't alone. The leader from the pier stood beside him, unmasked now. A woman in her 40s with sharp features and calculating eyes. Margaret Chen, according to the FBI's facial recognition. Former CIA, currently on Interpol's most wanted list for cyber terrorism. Dr. Voss, Margaret said calmly, as if they'd met for coffee instead of a raid. I'm impressed. You're more resourceful than I anticipated. Shut it down, Reeves ordered, weapon trained on Margaret. Now, or what? You'll shoot me. Margaret smiled. Look around, Agent. This room is the heart of a network spanning 43 countries. Kill me, and automated protocols take over. The deployment happens anyway. Lupe spoke for the first time, his accent thick. She's telling the truth. I built redundancies into redundancies. Only I can safely abort the sequence. Then do it, Marin said, stepping forward despite Reeves's warning. You don't want this. I saw your code. You left breadcrumbs, little inconsistencies that someone smart enough would catch. You wanted to be found. Lupe's eyes met hers, and something flickered there, hope. Relief? You saw them. I was beginning to think no one would. Andre, don't, Margaret warned. She's right. Lupe turned to Margaret. I never wanted this. You said it would be used for national security, to prevent terrorism, not this. Don't be naive, Margaret snapped. Security and control are the same thing. You knew that when you started. I knew you were CIA. I didn't know you'd gone rogue. Lupe moved toward a console, but Margaret blocked him. Step away from the terminal. Dr. Lupe, that's an order. You don't give me orders anymore. Lupe's voice hardened. I'm ending this. Margaret drew a pistol with shocking speed, pressing it to Lupe's temple. The deployment happens. I didn't spend 7 years building this network to watch it crumble now. The FBI agents tensed. Weapons aimed, but no one dared shoot. Not with Margaret's finger on the trigger. Not with Lupe's life and the only abort codes at stake. Marin's mind raced through options. The clock on the wall showed 5:47 a.m., 13 minutes until deployment. What do you really want, Margaret? Marin asked, trying to keep her talking. Power? Money? There has to be something you'd trade for. I want what everyone wants, Margaret replied. To matter. To change the world. And I will. In 13 minutes, the old order falls. Nations that relied on digital infrastructure will discover how vulnerable they truly are. And those who prepared, my clients, my benefactors, will inherit the new world. Your clients, Helena repeated. Who are they? Other rogue agents. Criminal organizations. Visionaries, Margaret corrected. People who understand that democracy is a failed experiment. Majority rule by the uninformed and easily manipulated. My network will allow true leaders to guide civilization toward efficiency and order. Fascism, Dmitri said flatly. You're describing fascism with extra steps. Margaret's smile was cold. Call it what you want. In 12 minutes you won't be able to stop it. Marin caught movement in her peripheral vision. Lupe's eyes flicked toward one of the server racks, then back to her. A message. He was trying to tell her something. She shifted slightly, pretending to look at the countdown timer while actually studying the server he'd indicated. There, a manual override panel, partially hidden behind a cable management system. But reaching it would require getting past Margaret. Agent Reeves, Marin said carefully, the server rack on the left, third from the back. There's an override. Reeves understood immediately. On my signal, she murmured into her comm. Everything happened in seconds. Two agents created a distraction by moving toward Margaret from opposite sides. She swung the gun toward them, and in that split second of divided attention, Lupe shoved her arm upward. The gun discharged into the ceiling. Marin sprinted for the override panel. Margaret recovered faster than expected, breaking free from Lupe and raising the weapon again. Marin's fingers found the panel, yanking it open. Don't! Margaret screamed. Inside was a physical switch, old school, analog, impossible to hack remotely. Exactly the kind of fail-safe a paranoid genius like Lupe would install. Marin flipped it. The server room went silent as every machine shut down simultaneously. Emergency lights clicked on, bathing everything in red. No! Margaret fired wildly. Agents returned fire. She went down, clutching her shoulder. The monitors flickered back to life, but different now, showing abort sequences, rollback protocols, systems safely powering down across the globe. Lupe slumped against a console, exhausted. It's done. The deployment is cancelled. All compromised systems will revert to pre-update states within the hour. Marin's legs gave out. She sat hard on the floor, adrenaline finally crashing. They'd done it. Somehow, impossibly, they'd actually stopped it. Helena knelt beside her. You did it. We all did. Medical teams rushed in to treat Margaret and secure the scene. Lupe was immediately surrounded by agents, but Reeves waved them back. Get him medical attention first. Then we'll talk about immunity deals. As they escorted everyone out of the bunker, dawn was breaking over the mountains. Marin emerged into cool morning air, breathing deeply. The world had no idea how close it had come to digital catastrophe. Most people would never know about the battle fought in their names, but they knew. And for now, that was enough. What happens now? Marin asked Helena as they walked toward the waiting helicopters. Helena looked at the sunrise, considering. Now we testify. We rebuilt. We make sure systems like this can never threaten the world again, she smiled. And maybe after all that, we'll get to sleep for about a week. Sleep sounds good, Marin agreed, but even as she said it, she knew things would never really go back to normal. She'd seen too much, learned too much about how fragile the digital world really was. The comfortable ignorance of her old life was gone forever. Maybe that wasn't such a bad thing. The world needed people willing to fight for it. And now Marin knew she was one of them. Up next, you got 2 more standout stories right on your screen. If this one hits the mark, you won't want to pass these up. Just click and check them out. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any upload from us.